I'm Jeremy Wade. For 35 years, I've been tracking down freshwater monsters.
That is a big fish.
But wherever I look, these apex predators are disappearing.
This is really remote, but even here, the big fish have gone.
For a biologist, that's a wake-up call, a sign that our rivers are in trouble. To uncover what's going on, I'm heading to 6 of the planet's major waterways. I need to mix with the people who live along their banks and test the waters any way I can.
Yes.
My mission? To find out if these mighty rivers really are past the point of no return. When white explorers found the mouth of the Zambezi, they hoped it would be a gateway to the riches of Central Africa. They soon realized their mistake. It wasn't just deadly rapids or what turned out to be the largest waterfall on Earth that got in the way of would-be exploiters. Around every bend, dangerous animals lay in wait. Today, the river is still unnavigable and still largely surrounded by wild country. But as I've learned, in the 21st century, just being remote isn't enough to keep a river healthy. And if recent reports are anything to go by, then even the mighty Zambezi is in trouble. I'm starting my investigation in western Zambia, where my first challenge is to find the Zambezi. It might not look like it, but all of this is the Zambezi River. Where is all the water, you're probably asking, and that's a very good question. Right now, it's gone underground, but for nearly half of every year, all of this is submerged. As the floodwaters recede, they leave hundreds of shallow lakes. The amount of fish trapped in these pools should give me my first clue about the health of the river. Apparently, the biggest of all these pools that are scattered around is a place called the King's Pool. And I'm told that every year about this time, the king of the local tribe allows his subjects to come along and fish the pool. It's the first time it's fished during that dry season. And what I'm going to try and do is to get myself invited. I've driven for miles across a seemingly deserted wilderness, but it's quickly apparent that I'm not alone. It's quite incredible. Just about everywhere I look, people are materializing out of what were just empty plains. There's a lot of people coming. This is the territory of the Lotse, a tribe that's totally attuned to the seasonal flooding of the upper Zambezi. I'm not sure if anyone here speaks English, but the official-looking tent is probably a good place to try. And it turns out they're expecting me. Good morning. I'm Joe.
Good morning. I would like to welcome you here.
Thank you very much.
We are delighted to receive you here.
Nyambe Nwenda, the man in charge, has guessed that I want to join the hunt.
I give you this spear today. Whatever you get out of this, it will be consumed by all of us.
Thank you very much.
We wish you good luck.
The locals seem game for the out-of-towner to lose the shirt and have a go. My guide is Chief Mundandawe.
And then we'll scatter, and then the children there will join us.
So I will follow you. I know what's going on.
Yes, yes.
All right. Oh, and here we go. Here we go. Oh! A little bit of mud down there. So what are we finding in here? What kind of fish?
It's bubble fish.
Okay, so it's the important thing is to get a spear.
Yes.
Okay. Someone's got one. A few people are starting to catch fish. It is a bit like the lottery. I think it is deliberately inefficient. My angler's instincts are all about maximum results, but that is not what this is about. It's about something else. The Lotse are big fish eaters. I'm curious to see the size of the fish they're catching and how many. So it's a catfish. I mean, it's exactly what you expect to find in a bit of water like this. That's 4 big ones.
4 big ones, yes.
Are you the best fisherman here?
He says, yeah, today he is.
I didn't even get one, so maybe I come back next year.
Yes.
Yeah. A haul of some 200 catfish from a single pool suggests that this part of the Zambezi is in good shape. But why is the fishing here so haphazard? We caught a good number of fish, but I'm sure could have caught many more if you just have one net, and with 100 people, you would empty all the fish. So why don't you do that?
It's like eating all your food in the house in one day. You have nothing for tomorrow.
It's quite regulated, the fishing here. So how long have you had this system?
Since time immemorial. It's always been like that.
What I'm seeing here is a rare example of a well-managed fishery. The King's Pool is harvested only a few times a year in a way that allows plenty of fish to escape. And it's the same for hundreds of other nearby pools, all of them owned by Lotse families. But the area where Lotse tradition holds sway is only a tiny fraction of the upper Zambezi. Before I can feel confident about this part of the river, I need to look further. Most of the water here is overseen not by tribal chiefs, but by the Zambian authorities. Just slowing down because there's a guy with a couple of fishing lines out there.
Do you have any fish? No fish?
It seems the line fishermen aren't having much luck. And I soon spot a possible reason. Can we go in? There's a suspicious-looking net there. It's attached to a load of weed. Continuing downstream, I see more nylon fishing nets. From my experience, these nets can be a serious problem. Just see some more nets, so can we go back a little? This isn't nylon monofilament, this is a woven material, but it's a very small mesh. I can just about force the end of my little finger through that hole. So that's for very small fish sort of 3-4 inches long. And it looks like there's several, many feet of this net. How many meter this net? How many feet? 200. 200 meters? Oof. A 600-foot net for such a narrow river channel seems like overkill. Alarm bells are starting to ring. Oh, are these the fish you catch? Wow. The numbers are impressive. That's a lot of fish. It's the size that's worrying. They are very, very small fish. And what they're on here, this is mosquito netting. Nothing's going to go through that mesh. It's going to get tiny fish. Most of these fish are young cichlids and catfish that didn't even get big enough to breed. Lots of different species, but they're all dead. They're all being pulled out. If resources were infinite, that would be fine. But if you do this for too long, you end up with nothing left at all. According to Zambian law, the minimum mesh size is a full 3 inches. But as far as I can tell, everyone here is ignoring the rules. Hello, excuse me. What puzzles me is why these people are destroying their own livelihoods. That one there, When I try to find out, I'm told to ask a fisherman called Brian. I'm looking for Brian. Is it? Hello there. Have you got a few minutes?
Yes.
Brian has fished this stretch of the Zambezi for 20 years. He says the problem started when traders from outside turned up. The traders buy all the fish for export, and to meet this new demand, people are catching whatever they can. With no one checking on net sizes, it's become a free-for-all. Where do you see things ending if it just goes on like this? The fishermen are actually getting quite desperate. They need to turn things round. They need support. And it's got to the point where if they can't do anything about it, the river here is finished. With no one bothering to stop illegal fishing, most of the upper Zambezi is being allowed to die. Wondering about the rest of the river, I'm taking my investigation downstream, into neighbouring Namibia. Namibia is one of Africa's most stable and prosperous countries. Like Zambia, it also has laws to protect its fish. Ironically, though, it seems that the proper enforcement of these laws is creating its own problem.
Hello, good evening.
A problem that these men are trying to fight.
Hello there. I'm Jeremy. Good to meet you, Lawrence.
So successfully are the Namibians protecting their part of the Zambezi that poachers are now coming for their fish. So these poachers, where are they coming from?
They are coming from this way.
From Zambia?
From Zambia, yes.
For these self-styled fish guards, every night holds the very real possibility of armed confrontation. So normally, do you find people?
Sometimes we find the people.
Is that dangerous for you? Are they aggressive?
They are dangerous.
Yeah.
Because they can using spears.
Do you have any weapons?
Only this one.
So what is this? Paintball, is it?
Paintball, yes.
This will hurt a little bit, but no, it won't do any damage.
Yeah, you can't damage.
Yeah. A single paintball gun against men armed with spears doesn't seem like a fair fight. Our plan is to lie low and wait for the poachers to show their hand.
Okay.
We've had a bit of a tip-off. There's 3 dugout canoes, and apparently they're coming into this arm of the river. Right, and what we're going to do now as well, we're going to turn off the camera light because we need to be in stealth mode. We want to be quiet and we want to be invisible. Is it possible that the poachers are near, that maybe they are watching us?
Maybe they are watching us, yes.
I'm starting to wonder, are we the ones being hunted? I'm on the mighty Zambezi with Namibian rangers, looking for poachers. We've just heard that armed men are in the area. And now we've got another problem. We just went pretty well straight over this net. And this has immobilized our boat. A poacher's net has fouled our propeller. And the small fish still alive, actually. Our priority now is to free the fish before they die.
What we're talking about here really is theft. It's people coming in and stealing fish belonging to somebody else. We've rescued some of the fish. It's a small victory to have taken this net out of action.
There's only one thing to do with nets like this. Every week, the fish guards remove about a mile of cheap nylon net from the river. It's very clear they're doing a good job here. Fish are getting taken away, but they are keeping on top of things. They appear to be winning insofar as that is possible, but any let-up of this work and this bit of river here is finished. The Namibians seem determined to defend their side of the Zambezi, but it's a task that'll only get tougher if the situation in Zambia doesn't improve. For around 60 miles, the river forms the border between these two countries. I'm not sure what to expect next. Rounding a bend, I can feel the current getting stronger, and this is the dry season. I'm seeing white water there, so the old ticker's going a little bit faster at the moment. This part of the Zambezi is certainly wild, and the water looks clean. But the best way to judge the health of a river is to find out what's actually living in it. Hang on, there's some guys here. Ken, can we go in here? Yeah. There are fishermen on the bank. It looks like I don't know, they might be setting these, there's some stuff in the water here as well. Some stuff in the water. I'm intrigued to see what these Zambian fishermen are after. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm well. Jeremy?
Jeremy, Sililo.
Good to meet you, Salil.
You too?
Are these yours out here, these baskets?
Yes, they are mine.
What fish are you after?
Upper Zambezi parrotfish.
Parrotfish. Is that a big fish, a small fish?
Small fish, about this size.
Right. Solilo informs me that parrotfish are especially prized for their fat, which is used as cooking oil. How long does it take you to make one of these?
In one day, I can make 4 of them.
4 of these?
Yes.
How many years have you been doing this?
I started since I was 7 years.
How old are you now?
Now I'm 37 years.
So nearly 30 years. Solilo sets his traps to catch the parrotfish as they migrate upriver to their breeding grounds.
You're gonna stand on this side.
Okay.
If the current pushes you, you can able to lean on the wire.
Since they're weak swimmers, parrotfish often get washed backwards into waiting traps. But even when it's low, this water can knock you off your feet. I just found out what that is for. These traps are potentially very dangerous for people. If you slip head first, even feet first, inside that funnel, you'll get just pushed to the end, your head is under the water, your partner has to take this, cut the rope that holds it. Otherwise, you're just going to be forced down and a very unpleasant ending, caught in your own trap. Parrotfish are more active under cover of darkness, so the traps are left out overnight. According to Solilo, the river is also home to other night feeders, like catfish. But he's also warned me about lions. So with nothing biting, I decide to get some sleep. In the morning, we return to check the traps. You can actually see the tails poking out of the basket. August is the very end of the parrotfish season, a chance to pick up the last stragglers. So what about the health of the river? Solilo's handmade traps are a good sign. Unlike the nylon nets I saw upstream, these baskets are designed to catch a particular fish at a particular time. What's more, it seems that different families fish different sections of the river, so it's in everyone's interest to look after their patch. Despite our modest haul, Solilo doesn't seem worried. Is it a lot better when it's the main season?
See, this boat here, it's gonna be full up to this.
Right. That's many pounds of fish, isn't it?
Yes.
Next, I'm about to feel the full force of this mighty river as my investigation takes me into a country gripped by a 30-year dictatorship.
We thought we were out of trouble. We've got to leave here.
I'm in Africa, investigating the Zambezi, a river whose fortunes seem to swing dramatically from one stretch to the next. Now I'm heading into Zimbabwe. Here, the 30-year dictatorship of Robert Mugabe has trashed the economy and spawned a repressive security system. Asking questions can land you in serious trouble, so I need to tread carefully. My first stop is the Zambezi's most iconic landmark. Victoria Falls is the largest curtain of water on Earth. You can hear it long before you see it.
On many of the world's great rivers, you find huge cities on the banks, and the waterways tend to form important transport routes, but not the Zambezi. And there's a very good reason for that. It's not exactly the easiest river to navigate. And because of this, the Zambezi has remained largely wild. But now, right here in the wildest part of this wildest of rivers, things could be about to change.
Below the falls, the Zambezi has carved out the Batoka Gorge, a 75-mile cleft in the rock, flanked on both sides by rugged wilderness. Like America's Grand Canyon, this ancient geological wonder is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, supposedly protected by international agreements. But there are plans to build a huge hydroelectric dam here that will flood the entire valley. The best way to appreciate the wild beauty of this place
Holding on.
is in a raft.
So this is why you don't get any cargo boats or passenger boats going in either direction on this river.
But the whitewater rapids of Batoka Gorge are among the best in the world for adventure tourism.
This is easy now, yeah?
Yeah.
And after this, just nice and smooth.
Nice and smooth.
By taming this stretch of the river, the new dam is set to destroy the wild heart of the Zambezi.
I find it very hard to imagine this being a lake here. But, you know, the thing about today, the water has just been moving, it's so powerful.
Exactly.
The idea of this being still water and not here, but way up.
I feel sad, but also we need electricity.
600 million Africans, twice the population of the US, have no electricity. So people like Tetrix are resigned to the dam being built. Others are not. But opposition to the dam is not welcome here in Zimbabwe.
I'm going to meet somebody from an organisation called International Rivers, but there's been a bit of a problem. It seems that the Zimbabwean government has got wind of me wanting to talk about this proposed dam. We were going to go and meet at the dam site. That would now be too risky, so we've had to go for a plan B.
Questioning government policy has long been dangerous in Zimbabwe. So we're meeting in secret, out in the bush. Rudo Sanyanga believes that people don't understand the full impact of the Batoka Dam.
People are made to believe that this project is really good for them, it's going to benefit them. But the impacts, the hidden costs are not announced to the people. The big questions are not asked, like who is going to benefit.
As well as doubting that electricity will ever get to people like Tetrix, Rudo is concerned that with global warming, the dam won't deliver what was originally promised. Lower water levels, and hence less water running through the dam's turbines, will mean less power is produced.
Batoka would lose up to 22% of its generation capacity due to climate change.
So you've got those turbines there, and if nothing's going through the turbines,
Yeah,
no power.
no power.
The authorities say they're listening to people's concerns, but downstream there could be a telling precedent at Zimbabwe's existing mega dam. Kariba was the first big hydro dam built across the Zambezi. Decades later, though, the surrounding villages are still not connected to the electricity grid, and the reservoir's receding water doesn't bode well for the future. I've come here to find out what happens when you transform a wild river into a huge man-made lake. Does it automatically spell disaster for the creatures that live in and along the river? Or could there be some surprise winners?
These are just massive animals, massive.
Hippos use the water to keep cool, but they're fiercely territorial. And if there's one thing that gets them riled, it's a perceived intruder.
There are so many of these things here, and most of the time, you just don't see them. They could be right underneath you. Is this close enough?
Armed with massive tusks, these notoriously aggressive vegetarians kill more people than lions, and maybe even crocodiles. I'm in Zimbabwe, investigating the mighty Zambezi. I've had to meet in secret to learn about a planned dam, and now I'm in trouble on the world's biggest reservoir.
Oh, it's too close, too close, too close!
There's one well-known saying, it's the hippo you can't see. That's the one you've got to be worried about.
Since hippos are grazers that feed on land, they can't tell me much about the underwater ecosystem. I need to find out about the fish.
Morning.
Morning, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
These fishermen are Tonga, a river tribe that was displaced when Lake Kariba was created. They've got a good haul, including tigerfish.
Has this been out all night?
Overnight.
Overnight, yeah? A lot of tigers.
Yeah, it's now season of the tigers.
It's a good season.
Yeah.
Do people check the nets?
Yes, sir. National parks.
And if they catch you with a small net, what do they do?
Then you get fined.
So you're fined?
Yeah, $100.
$100?
Yeah.
This net is the biggest size I've seen on the river. Upstream, this size.
Small meshes finish the fish.
How do you feel about the regulation net size?
I just need this net because I've got a 3 months child. So in 20 years to come, the fish will be there.
It looks like the strict regulations here are working, and welcome. This is a good catch. But what about the even bigger fish that feed on tigerfish? The presence of top predators is usually a clear sign of a healthy river, and I'm itching to test the waters myself.
On the surface.
There's the fish.
It looks like a good-sized Vundu catfish.
Oh, under the boat.
Come towards me, come towards me. I think that's off. Right.
Hoping to tempt another one, I throw out more bait. But the vundu isn't the biggest predator in the water.
I think that splashing around has distracted him. He's coming right towards the boat.
Nile crocs are well-known man-eaters. They can reach lengths of 18 feet, which is longer than my canoe.
The local fishermen tell me that the crocodiles here have learnt to start tipping fishermen out of boats. It's coming closer and closer.
It's time to pull out. But I have my answer. Since fish make up the bulk of a Nile crocodile's diet, their abundance along the shores points to a healthy aquatic food chain. But what about the middle of the lake? Lake Kariba is only 60 years old, yet I've heard it's teeming with a fish that didn't even exist here before. To see for myself what's going on, I've arranged to go out on one of the many makeshift fishing boats that ply the open water. Then, without warning, my investigation hits a wall.
Rolling.
Right. We thought we were out of trouble. We thought it was just the proposed dam in the gorge that there was a problem about, but it turns out, we've just heard, our filming permission has been withdrawn. We've got to leave here.
For reasons that aren't clear, I've been kicked out of Zimbabwe. So far on the Zambezi, I've seen some encouraging examples of intelligent fishing, which works for the future as well as the present. But I've also witnessed rampant overfishing. In Zimbabwe, where the government plans to dam the wild Batoka Gorge, I'd hope to find out how the huge Kariba Dam is already affecting the Zambezi. Unfortunately though, I've been kicked out. So I'm heading downriver, into Mozambique. The town of Senna is right beside the Zambezi. I'm hoping its fish market can tell me what's coming out of the river. For 400 years, Mozambique was a colony of the Portuguese, and the language, which I know from my years in Brazil, is still spoken.
¿Cómo se llama este?
Este peixe sardinha.
They're all either smoked or salted. Not seeing anything fresh here. Nothing on ice. There's no ice anywhere to be seen.
Most of the fish on offer are sea fish that have been dried and trucked in from the coast. There's precious little from the river, and what there is small.
Poucas vezes. No. So I'm just asking if we got any big fish here today. He says no. You know, sometimes there's big fish, but generally, you know, what we're looking at, small fish.
It looks like the river may have run out of fish. Or have I just picked a bad day?
Very interesting market. There's no fresh fish here at all, but the main thing is I'm not noticing any big fish. However, they've given me the name of a fisherman who sometimes catches big fish, so I think that could be my next stop.
I'm concerned that the river here has lost its big predatory fish. But before I write it off, I need to find this mystery fisherman. His name is Benjamin, and I've been told that unlike everyone else, he fishes with lines.
So he used to fish with nets like all the other fishermen. His boat was stolen, so what he does now is fishes with a hook and line from the side of the river, and this is how he's picking up some of the bigger fish.
Benjamin claims that the big fish can still be found, but he has a word of warning. Just weeks ago, a fisherman here was snatched and killed by a crocodile. He says I need to visit the witch doctor for protection before I go anywhere near the riverbank. I'm surprised to find that the witch doctor is a woman.
Imwe basa la kumedza hivi. Mzimu unapata mwana kumedza huu. Ni mzimu wangu.
Como explicar? É uma voz dentro.
They've just asked me a question which made me think quite deeply. They said, what is the name of the spirit in your place that helps you to fish? And I'm thinking, well, I sort of do have a voice inside my head when I'm fishing. And they seem to get that. And they said, well, the name of the spirit that helps fishermen is called Hambalumi.
To give me the protection that Benjamin says I need, the witch doctor calls upon Hambalumi. With the spirit now on my side, Benjamin is happy to take me to the riverbank. It's coming up for dusk, prime time for predators.
So the spears for crocodiles, when he came down, the first thing he did was just jab that in the water, just in case something was there with its nose just under the surface.
Benjamin is philosophical about the danger. He says he already has many grandchildren.
That's the bite alarm on the end. That's a tin with stones in, so if anything's on the line, that will rattle that. All it needs now is just to bait the hooks. There's 3 hooks here. Chuck it out, wait for the rattle. So that's all set up. My turn now to get rigged.
I'm starting to wonder, could the scarcity of river fish in the market simply be down to a fear of crocodiles?
Yeah, what Benjamin's doing looks a little bit hairy to me. I mean, knowing about the crocs in this water here, you know, I wouldn't want to be actually in the water.
I'm on the lower Zambezi, hoping to get hands-on with an apex predator, as long as it's not a crocodile. Benjamin claims that big fish are still here.
Wherever it is, it's right in the bushes here.
And if he's right, that's good news for the river.
Nyume.
Yeah, Nyume.
Nyume.
And... Okay. Ok, aqui tá bom. Tô pensando que Anzo não está na boca. Ok. This is what Benjamin calls a Nyume, but which I know as a vundu. It's good size. Maybe 15 minutes with a bait in the water, and this came along, so I'd say it's a pretty good sign.
It seems that Benjamin is right. Despite what I saw in the fish market, the river here is still home to big fish. Which means the small fish must be here too. But I'm not yet done with this river. Further downstream, at the river's mouth, I've heard there may be big problems. After carving its way across half the continent, Africa's mighty Zambezi finally approaches the sea. Its huge delta is a crucial wetland refuge for hundreds of species. But from up in the air, it's immediately apparent that something isn't right.
Much of the landscape here is nothing like I expected. Normally with the delta, you've got that classic branching pattern like the branches of a tree. But here, there's none of that at all.
Mark Haldane has been flying here for 30 years and says he's witnessed a dramatic change.
I was expecting to see more watercourses.
It's because there's no flooding anymore. It no longer floods to the extent it used to. It's definitely dried up.
So the floods used to keep the waterways open. Now a lot of them are blocked up.
Absolutely correct.
What's holding back the floods is no secret. The Kariba Dam and Mozambique's huge Cahora Bassa Dam could be game changers. For millennia, natural flooding didn't just keep river channels open, it also deterred people from settling the delta. Now, because of the big dams, inhospitable swamps are becoming potential farmland. Where wildlife roams today, there could soon be fields, villages, and eventually cities. The way things are going, we shouldn't take spectacles like this for granted.
Just an incredible sight, incredible.
For centuries, the Zambezi was protected by its wildness. Today, overfishing and a thirst for hydropower are starting to kill off this mighty river. But there is also hope. For many years, the countries that share the Zambezi have been divided and underdeveloped. Now at peace and increasingly prosperous, they have a clear but brief opportunity to stop its further decline and secure its long-term future.
To find out what you can do to help the rivers in your part of the world, go to animalplanet.com/mightyrivers.